Hello, everyone. Today, I'm making a case for why Donald Trump's being the Republican nominee in 2024 would be bad for rational conservatism and the future of the country. This comes from sober evaluation of Trump's performance in the past and the likelihood he will accomplish what I think most conservatives want. I believe this in part because I think he will likely lose the election in November. I'm aware there are polls showing him leading Biden in the general election, but I don't think he'll be running against Biden. The Democrats are going to swap out Joe and Kamala after the primaries are over. Politicians and the media will apply heavy pressure, and Joe will drop out of the race. The new selection will occur at the Democratic National Convention in August. It will be someone young and charismatic, without a long record to criticize, will campaign as a uniter, and will check at least one oppression box to make her historic, like Barack Obama in 2008. And this person would defeat Donald Trump in the general election. Trump has a loyal base, but he has a larger base of voters who will look for reasons to vote against him. But let's put all of that aside. If Donald Trump happens to win the general election, it may not turn out the way you want. I don't think he'll have large majorities in Congress with him, which will limit his ability to deal with important issues such as immigration. Republicans have not done well in elections since 2016, partly because of the candidates endorsed by Donald Trump. In addition, the swamp, meaning specifically in this case the executive branch, won't be reformed. He didn't do it the first time he was in office, and in my experience it actually got much more woke in Trump's first 4 years. Furthermore, he doesn't have the discipline to take on that task anyway. I think he's more of a headline chaser than a nose to the grindstone sort of guy. I think his cabinet will be similar. Few candidates serious about reform will want to put up with Trump's erratic behavior and constant harassment and violence from the left. And Trump can only serve one term. I think it'll take 2 full terms to make meaningful progress in this area. And I think he will fall short in other areas. He and Congress will continue the same insane federal spending that he did when he was in office the first time. I don't think he'll address crime or the transgender madness being promoted for children. Again, you can put all of that aside if you want. Trump is 78 and clearly in cognitive decline. He's not the person he was in 2016, and he makes mental mistakes in his public statements frequently now. Recently, he said he defeated Obama in an election. He said, with Biden and Russia, we may end up in, quote, World War II. He said a candidate that he ran against in 2016, referring to Jeb Bush, quote, got us involved in the Middle East. He's confused Biden with Obama at least 6 times, and he didn't appear to be kidding. He is doing fewer interviews than before, and he won't debate. Just because the Democrat press has been pushing stories about his cognitive decline for years doesn't mean that it can't be true now. So, in summary, I think Donald Trump's time has passed in a few different ways, relating to his age and the times. In 2016, he took a huge personal risk in the face of very long odds. He proved that you can take on the established political order at a time when other Republicans were mostly meekly avoiding offending anyone. But he doesn't have the attention span or the work ethic to tackle the complex problems. He prefers making the daily news cycle, and much more often than not hinders his causes, whatever they may be, rather than help them. Are you ready for 4 years of lying, character assassination, few discernible principles, petty fighting with foes and friends? He's lying constantly now about himself and Ron DeSantis, who he sees as his biggest competitor. There are 2 Republican candidates who would beat Biden and possibly any other Democrat, Nikki Haley and Ron DeSantis. I prefer DeSantis. Haley seems like status quo to me. DeSantis is a proven leader and change agent. Compare Trump and DeSantis in terms of electability. Trump lost to Biden in 2020 after his first term. DeSantis turned a purple state to a bright red state in his first term, which means he brought a lot of Democrats and independents over to his side. And, in my opinion, he's more conservative than Donald Trump. Ronald Reagan, elected in 1980, shifted the entire political spectrum to the right for 30 years. Who is more likely to do that now, Trump or DeSantis? Joe Biden is much worse than Jimmy Carter ever was, and an opportunity like this won't come again for a long time, if at all. So, some questions to ask yourself. Is Donald Trump the person you want to represent America going forward? I know he's been subjected to unprecedented legal attacks, and they represent a gross abuse of state and federal law enforcement powers. Do you want him to storm into the presidency and spend 4 years taking revenge on his enemies, using the same government power? That same government power that can and will be turned on you and me eventually? Or do you want someone who will spend 8 years reforming the federal criminal justice system and the swamp in general? Are you willing to risk 8 more years of Democrat rule and the resulting effect on America's future? Think government spending, taxes, regulation, immigration, rule of law, Supreme Court appointments. Do you want the economy and quality of life ground down by futile climate actions and DEI? Another 8 years of this, and all of this will be baked in for the long term. Does Donald Trump adequately represent your values and principles? Does he embody the values of the nation, or is he mostly self-interested? Is your loyalty to Donald Trump, one person who will be irrelevant in a few years, or is it to the country, the Constitution, and the rule of law, and to your future and future generations? Think about it and comment if you'd like. Thanks for watching.